Um, you forgot. Okay. So in today's lesson, the Buddhist perspective on social relationships. So before that, I actually wanted to ask you how connected you are, with yourself. In fact, we start getting connected um, from the very womb of our mother. We are connected. We are wired, right? We talk about Wi-Fi connection, but we are actually wired with our mom, even inside the womb. That I think somehow, there is also something to do with that connection. And then we come out, we are more connected to our mom and our dad, and then like me myself, like that family, that small group of people who are close to your life. And then when you are, I think every decade of your life, you will be connected to different groups of people in the society. The first maybe 10 years, so much connected to you, so much. And then maybe 10 to 15, little bit, maybe still halfway, a little bit towards your friends. And then maybe after that, slowly you are maybe opposite gender, like you go for like romantic relationships and that kind of company you are searching for. We are connected to different people that way. And then maybe like in 30 something, you will be connected to one company, and then you will have your own family, that way you will be a different person. That's why like the 35, mid-30s, as the Bodhisattva himself attained Nibbana or became a Buddha. So very important um, age, like period in our life. Very important period. And then slowly, you are taking care of your, what do you call, your kids. And then when they grow old, and you take care of them, and then their family and their children, you take care of them. So that connection keep rotating, keep moving, keep expanding to different territories. Then maybe eventually, a lot of people, they feel like um, come out of all those connections and maybe like they feel alone. That also happens. I think we should train ourselves into that. Every one of us need to train ourselves. Like when you are alone, sometimes physically, mentally, if you are alone yourself, how to deal with that situation. This will be really important. How to deal with that situation when you are alone. Just like a rhino, you have to be strong within so that you can really feel much more comfortable and peaceful when you are alone, both physically and mentally one. Okay, so in life, from time to time, you will have these different warnings, different occasions where you are going to be alone. Okay, okay, so that is about the introduction. I would I wanted to play with you. So today I would like to um, say a little bit about the Tripitaka. Like I think this also can be very helpful Tipitaka or Tripitaka, like 3 baskets or 5 collections, Nikayas. I think out of the Tripitaka, 5 collections can be very important, Nikayas. Those are the nearly 20,000 suttas, discourses in the Buddhist canons. There you find very helpful things happening. And so here around 52 volumes and 84,000 topics. And these are the basic canons. So those basic canonical texts also include commentaries, what you call Atthakatha, and sub-commentaries like Tika. And then we also have sub-commentaries, Tippanis. So Pali, let's say Pali Sutta, like Diganikaya. Yesterday we were talking about Brahmajala Sutta, the Brahmanet. And that sutta, there are so many difficult terms that you can't understand, then you can go to Atthakathas, commentaries. Very helpful tips are there in the commentaries. And even in the commentaries, you find there are certain phrases, some clauses, some technical terms you're not comfortable with. You don't understand the concept just like that. And then you can go to sub-commentary, tikas. Even there, if there are some difficulties, you can go to sub-commentaries. But that's about the Tipitaka. So there are quite a lot of suttas. I think we have to read them slowly and steadily. I think when you are alone, if you can spend some quality time learning the Dhamma, that can also be very important, very helpful for you. So learn the Dhamma, learn the teachings can always be very helpful. Like when you are angry, when you are sad, when you are upset, when you are down, depressed, reading some of those suttas can be very helpful. And so in Buddhism, the nature of it is viewed as a practical way of life. You can really see lots and lots of practical input, like some skills that we can learn. Philosophy, psychology, sociology, ethics, history, linguistics, everything is there. It's all inclusive, whole full package. And also mostly like when we talk about Vinaya or Sila, Samadhi, Panya, the ethical values and the practical application. Every sutta should be helpful in practically applying to our life in day-to-day basis. There are so many ups and downs. Every single day you have different experience. And every single day if you read, let's say just read even the Dhammapada, like this one. So very, very wonderful book if you can have a copy of this, you know. So there are 26 chapters and all of them are like very simple, like short Pali stanzas. They are really important. Like if you keep reading them, every single day you will read something different. You will understand a different meaning. That is also beauty of this repeated learning. And over here, like for ethical and social relationships, in this case, we already have learned about Sigalo the Sutta, how important it is to like a net, a web of social community that we have here in the world. The Sigalo the Sutta is really a wonderful sutta. And then Chakravarti Sirana the Sutta is another one. and we probably can read some of those suttas today. I also have quoted Sigalova the Sutta. Later on, we can learn. So, Buddhism addresses human nature, human behavior, and societal interactions too. Buddhism, although eventually the Buddha talks about the importance of to be being yourself, being alone in order to practice, but then he would also never forget the importance of having the connection with the others. Remember, the Buddha himself secluded from the family later on at the age of 29. He renounced the world and he was all by himself. He didn't want to talk to other people. He wanted to be all by himself. That was very important. In some point of time, like when you want to do something really seriously, you have to be yourself. But you still have to come back after that. And then he was connected to, started interacting with five disciples, and then Yasa and his friends, and then his first 60 missionary group. And he asked how important it is for those monks to, wander forth, go forward without stopping, and talk to people, meet the people. Not only the people, also the heavenly beings, he said. So he asked he instructed the monks to go forward and help them, talk to them. So connectivity was pretty much a part of the Mahasangha members too. So Buddhism emphasizes the inner connectedness and the pursuit of security, pleasure, and happiness can also happen through relationships. When you are alone, you might probably have these issues. That is why, if you want to be alone, you have to be stronger within. You have to be stronger in case of security, pleasure, happiness. All these things can come to you. Like so many defilements can come to you, even if you practice in the forest. So you have to be stronger within, not to be bamboozled by these, um, you know, sensual pleasures. Lot of defilements. And security, even security, how to deal with the security, like life-threatening situation. So when you practice in the forest, you have to find a place where you feel comfortable, like maybe a cave or a rock, or somewhere where there are less hazards. Like if you have a lot of mosquitoes or lot of like pandemics like situations, epidemics and insects, snakes, wildlife, and maybe like too much rain or too cold or too hard, then also you won't be able to practice better. So you have to find a better place. Very important also to have a better, or to find a better um, suitable place to live. And then you can deal with your own security. Plus, the practice of metta, like Brahma Viharas, can also further consolidate your security. When you deal with your security, when you practice loving kindness, karuna, like compassion and sympathetic joy and equanimity, then mostly you can deal with so many issues in your life. You will feel everyone around is friendly with you. You don't feel alone. Even if you are like physically alone, you don't feel alone when you practice Brahma Vihara. And if you feel like depressed or sad or something like that, practicing equanimity can be really, really helpful. So that way, like you become a very strong pole, which cannot be shaken by the winds that blows from all different corners. You have to be like that. In the kilo, it is said, in the kila is a very strong pole which cannot be shaken by the winds that blows from all the directions. So these things are again very important. Then challenges in relationships can be another issue. A lot of people, they want to be, at the beginning with the parents, and then you also find some clashes with the parents, and then later with your friends, then you start having some clashes with them, and then you find some company, lifelong company, and then you also feel fine, that is not 100%, matching. Then you feel like a lot of ups and downs in your life. Sometimes it is very miserable. It can be really, really unfortunate if you find a bad company. So challenges are there in relationships. We need to talk about this. We need to learn about this and how to deal with such situations. So here in this Buddhist perspective on social relationships, this is another area that we have to think of. So relationships can lead to conflicts, definitely. If you are alone, you have less conflicts. But if you are with someone else, you have more conflict. And then if you have more and more people, you have more and more conflicts and difficulties can be there. So you need to know, you need to learn how to deal with such challenges. So Buddhism provides guidance for living harmoniously and joyfully through wise reflection and ethical behavior. Very important, I think, to live peacefully and happily. You know, doesn't matter you live alone or you live with the others. If you can live harmoniously, if you can live joyfully, happily, then you can be a very happy person, and you really feel enjoying yourself in your life. And then over here, you can also see the moral responsibility. When you are alone, still you have some responsibilities. Um, in a family, you can be alone too. You have family. If you are a husband, you have some duties, responsibility towards your wife, your children, and your parents, and your friends, your co-workers. If you are a business person, then you also have other employees, and also a lot of things are there yeah, as a social being. And every community has their own different responsibilities. In Ambalatikara the Sutta yesterday, we learned how to learn what is good and what is bad. When something is good for you, when something is good for the others, when something is good for both of you, then you should do some things. When something is harmful to you, harmful to others, harmful to both, you should avoid such things. So in Ambalatikara the Sutta, it reflects the consequences of actions to avoid harm and promote positive outcomes. And this sutta also encourages some actions that can minimize suffering for oneself and others. So when it comes to kusala or punya or papa or akusala, wholesome, unwholesome, merit, demerit, You have to think of both, not one-sided benefits. Benefit should be both sides, like yourself and others, and both. That is how it is defined in the Ambalatika Prabhupada Sutta. This practicing of compassion, loving kindness, really important in dealing with social relationships. So in Buddhism, we talk about this to cultivate boundless goodwill towards all beings. Um, just like you have such an affinity towards your mom, your beloved mom and your dad, then you also have to um, inculcate that, cultivate that, further expand the territory of loving kindness to other sentient beings. Start with yourself every time when you practice loving kindness or the Brahma Viharas, you have to start with yourself and then slowly expand to some limited people, like those people who are very close to your life, those people who have been helpful to you, who have been blissful to you, who have, always enjoyed your progress. You have to think of such people, like maybe your parents, your family members, your teachers, your elders, someone, friends, those are the loved ones, near and dear ones. So you need to, maybe at the beginning you can select only one person even, and then focus on that person and practice metta towards that person. And even the all the sub Brahman Viharas you can practice towards that person. And then slowly you can expand the list of loved ones. That can be done in the practice. Over time, you can expand the limit, the list. And then the next level is to practice loving kindness to the neutral ones. Uh, the neutral ones may be also like you can select just one person to begin with. And then when you keep doing it, after a while, you can add some more neutral ones, and then countless neutral ones at the end. So keep doing it. And then you can go to the more challenging um, circle, that is the unfriendly ones. Unfriendly ones can be very few, but unfriendly ones can also make your life so miserable and messy. So you have to make sure that you are clean from your side. Most importantly, you are the one who fabricate your own issues, your own troubles within you. So you have to make sure everything is very clean and clear from your side. And then even if the other person is angry or upset with you, it doesn't really matter because you are stronger within. You are very clean, purified within. So it's important to practice loving kindness that way to the unfriendly ones as well. Really seriously, very sincerely and honestly, if you send loving kindness to those unfriendly ones over time, select one person to begin with and then keep doing it over time. And you will notice that you are improving not only for yourself, but also for the other party. They will also feel more comfortable. They will also feel more peaceful. So, in strengthening, consolidating social relationships, we need to practice these things. Very important. And eventually, we can practice metta, loving kindness, and all the other Brahma Viharas to all sentient beings, including yourself, and then maybe little children and elderly people, young and old, middle age, all those people, men and women, sick people, healthy people, weak people, strong people, poor people, rich people. You can think of, whichever, or different countries, different cultures, different languages, different continents. different cities, different, countries. You can keep expanding the territory of this practice. And then humans and non-humans. And then skybound, earthbound, waterbound, long, short, strong, weak, near and far, seen, unseen, all sentient beings. So this one is all inclusive at the end. When you keep doing it, you will feel that your bloodstreams and your nervous system, your brain waves, the overall health, many issues um, gradually improved. You feel much comfortable, much better, and much healthier and peaceful within yourself. So again, these are very important practices. Key virtues here: wisdom, understanding reality, and maintaining a balanced mind is very important. So Panya should always be with us, even in practicing Sila, as we mentioned yesterday too. Um, like the navigation, Sammadityo, right view as the navigation for a smooth functioning of our journey. We need to have wisdom. We need to have that balanced mind. Compassion, karuna, deep awareness of and desire to alleviate others' suffering. Again, very important. Like every one of us, even if we have not sorted out our own troubles, we can see other people's suffering. And if there is an opportunity for us to help them, we should never hesitate. We should go ahead and help them. When you help others, when they are in need of your help, if you go there and extend your helping hand to them, you will feel so much comfortable yourself. So these are really wonderful. So that's why we have Brahma Viharas for immeasurables. Having kindness is unconditional, and compassion is for the suffering, to relieve others' suffering. Sympathetic joy, uh, to 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 be happy and joyful in seeing the other's happiness or success. Really important. And equanimity, again, balance and non-attachment. So wonderful if we slowly practice these four Brahma Viharas in our life. So in working with the social relationships, the ideal of universal practice. You can see this, how wonderful if we can maintain this way. Our relationships with everyone can improve. With your husband, wife, with your children, with your teachers, with your family members, with your co-workers, everyone around. You will find that there is such a beautiful, wonderful, and wholesome benefit when you work on these Brahma Viharas. So it's like a paradise is created through universal compassion and wisdom. In Buddha's teachings, we already found how he was fighting very hard against the rigid caste hierarchy, like Brahmins, Khatriyas, and Vaishyas, and Sudras. So, like those different classes of people, priests, warriors, and farmers and traders, and also laborers. Along with that, there were outcasts or chandals. They were at the very bottom, and they were ostracized. They were marginalized people. So much discrimination happened towards them. And Buddha broke the shaka. he broke the barrier, and how he helped the society, have helped all those people to come to his sasana, to come in search of refuge in the Buddha sasana when they came. He wholeheartedly welcomed all of them. So Buddha, even though he was from a warrior class or royal class, he had a very wonderful relationships with other priests and traders, merchants, and even the laborers and outcast people. There are some stories that we are going to learn today about such people. So Buddha rejected the caste system in many suttas we find. Well, Ambalattika Rahulawada Sutta, as we learned before, it talks about what is good and what is bad. And in the Sonadanda Sutta, in Digha Nikaya, we can also see how he was arguing against the caste system. And apart from that, we can see Vyagapajya Parabhava Vasala Suttas have been really directly attacking the very system of that discrimination. So Buddha was fighting alone, but he was like a rhino. He was stronger enough and purified enough to deal with all the other people. And his message of peace and wisdom went viral with everyone in the society. A lot of Brahmins, they really embraced Buddhism because of that. And a lot of Khatyas, a lot of Vaishyas or Vaishyas or merchant class people, and also the lower class or outcast people, they all embrace Buddhism. And the Buddha said, just as the water come from all different corners, and when they join the great ocean, it becomes one salty taste. Similarly, when people come from all different corners, different castes, different classes, different categories, when they join the Sangha, they all become one united Sangha. That was really wonderful, exemplary leadership that the Buddha showed in teaching the Dhamma. So he emphasized the respect and also virtue, wisdom and virtue, he said, they don't come by just by birth. You have to earn it. You can't force it. You have to really earn it. Equality in the Buddhist monastic community, caste distinctions are abolished in the monastic order. Although unfortunately there are some still, even in today's context, we can still see some elements. These Brahmin elements are still there. And so even among the Sangha, it still can be there. And in Buddhist countries also, still this, when it comes to maybe like political leadership or other leaderships, they might consider certain things like that. They are still not in the perfect, practical level. Yeah, it's not being implied, still not properly implied. We can see that. So, like rivers merging into the sea, the Buddha said, none is by birth a Brahmin, none is by birth an outcast. By deed, one becomes a Brahmin. By deed, one becomes an outcast. Najacha vasalo hoti, najacha hoti brahmano, kammana vasalo hoti, kammana hoti brahmano. So he gave priority to ourselves. He gave confidence, self-confidence. You are the master of yourself, not anyone else. So you can determine your own path. That was the idea over here. So counter to Brahmanical traditions, Buddha criticized the reliance on rituals and divine intervention for purification and rebirth. In many cases, the Buddha said, Atta hi attano natho, ko hi natho parosya, self-reliance and personal effort. You are the one to, find your own enlightenment. The suffering, you have found yourself within this body, and you have to find the solution also within this body, name and form. You have to find it, you have to get rid of it. You are responsible. When you are responsible for your own karma, if you are given the authority, then I think, yeah, you are able to get rid of it because you don't want to be punished that way. So even though you have done some bad karma, you might have to undergo the repercussion, punishment. But then again, even though you have done some bad karma before, you are able to, make a stop. You have to stop it today, and then from now onward, you have the opportunity to go forward and get rid of the effect of that bad karma. So Buddha, by um, you know by assigning the responsibility to ourselves, he has given so much power. He empowered all human beings that they can determine their own course in the samsara. He urged his followers to pursue self-improvement, wisdom, and compassion for the welfare of all beings too. So not only yourself, but also the others. You can work for the betterment, for the well-being, and for the happiness of the many. Every one of us actually has something to do with that. Over here in the Ekaka Nipata Anguttara Nikaya, Buddha encouraged spreading his teaching for the benefit and happiness of both gods and humans. And he emphasized the pursuit of Dhamma and boundless compassion as pathways to liberation and well-being. Just here you can see in the Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha frequently encouraged the monks to practice and spread the Dhamma. Bahujana hitaya, bahujana sukhaya, lokanu kampaya, attaya hitaya sukhaya, deva manusanam. It's also there in many other occasions. For example, Vinaya Pitaka, you can find this when the Buddha addressed his first 60 disciples. He talked about this. For the good of the many, for the happiness of the many, out of compassion for the world, for the benefit, welfare, and happiness of gods and humans. So the monks were asked to walk, wander forth, and help many other beings. And in this Dhammapada stanza, we can see Natena Aryo Hoti, Yena Panani Himsati, Ahimsa Sabba Pananam Ariyoti Pauchati. Not by harming living beings does one become noble. One who is harmless towards all beings is called noble. So wonderful, right? So how can you become a noble person? By not harming others. If you can become harmless person, you can naturally become a noble person. So it doesn't happen when you don't become a noble person just by birth, but by action. That is the Buddha's um, teaching here, message here. Ahimsa. Hinsa is violence. Ahimsa is non-violence. Sabbapanana means all breathing things, all sentient beings. If you become non-violent or harmless to all sentient beings, then you can be called Arya. Arya is noble. Dhammapada. Then again, we can see the Buddha talks about Sigalo in Sigalovada Sutta. We already learned so many relationships, different social relationships. Familial roles includes roles such as husband, father, son, mother, wife, and daughter. And professional and social rules, we can also see that role among citizens, workers, employers, and professional roles for women. And these are the 10 directions, directional framework. We have exactly here some framework to find the Buddhist perspective on social relations. So as Sigala was paying respect to the six directions, like east to south, west, north, zenith, and nadir, the Buddha said, you have a better practice in the Arya Vinaya, this noble sasana, that is by paying respect to parents and children, teachers and pupils, teachers and students, husbands and wives, and friends and companions, clergy and laity, employers and employees. I think everyone in the society can be included in this beautiful social network. So Sigalovada Sutta that way is a really, really wonderful sutta. Okay. I would like to ask someone to read. I have just quoted here only the five duties towards different parties here. Can anyone please read these things?
Yes, I can read one thing to save time. I read in the share screen, right? The words in the share screen, right?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. In 5 ways, young householder, a child should minister to his parents at the East. Having supported me, I shall support them. I shall do their duties. I shall keep my family tradition. I shall make myself worthy of my inheritance. Furthermore, I shall offer alms in honor of my departed relatives.
Sorry.
In 5 ways, young householder, the parent does minister to as the is by their children, show their compassion. They restrain them from evil. They encourage them to do good. They train them for a profession. They arrange a suitable marriage. At the proper time, they hand over their inheritance to them. In 5 ways, young householder, a pupil should minister to a teacher at the source. By rising from the seat in salutation, by attending on him, by eagerness to learn, by personal service, by respectful attention while receiving instructions.
Okay, just here like the first one, rising from the seat in salutation is an Eastern way of saluting the elders and the teachers. I'm sure it's not the way here in the West. You can have your own way of, paying respect. Um, so like this one, there could be little differences depending on the cultures, but you can find a way to, pay respect to the teacher.
In five
Yes,
ways,
please.
young householders to teachers thus minister to as the South by their pupils, show their compassion. They train them in the best discipline. They see that they grasp their lessons well. They instruct them in the arts and science. They introduce them to their friends and associates. They provide for their safety in every quarter.
Okay.
In five ways, young householder should a wife as the West be ministered to by a husband, by being courteous to her, by not despising her, by being faithful to her, by handing over authority to her, by providing her with adornments.
Okay. Very modern. Okay.
The wife thus ministered to as the West by her husband shows her compassion to her husband in five ways. She performs her duties well. She is hospitable to relations and attendants. She is faithful. She protects what he brings. She is skilled and industrious in discharging her duties.
Yeah. So you can see the mutual respect, mutual commitment to each other, respecting each other. So this is not one-sided thing, but mutual trust, mutual respect, mutual care.
In five ways, young householder should a clanman minister to his friends and associates at the North by liberality, by counter speech, by being helpful, by being impartial, by sincerity.
Okay, this is how you deal with your friends.
The friends and associates thus minister to as the North by clansmen show compassion to him in five ways. They protect him when he is heedless. They protect his property when he is heedless. They become a refuge when he is in danger. They should they do not forsake him in these troubles. They show consideration for his family.
Yeah, we found 4 true friends and 4 fake friends before, and over here we can see kind of a summary of all the good friends over here.
In five ways should a master minister to his servants and employees at the Nadi by assigning them work according to their ability, by supplying them with food and with wage, by tending them in sickness, by sharing with them any delicacy, by granting them leave at times.
Okay, so in modern context, um, you may think if there is anything else other than this. Like we have here Medicare, so also like bonuses and many things are there, I think. Very much compatible with the modern day um, techniques.
The servants and employees thus minister to as the Nadi by their master show their compassion to him in five ways. They rise before him, they go to sleep after him, they take only what is given, they perform their duties well, they uphold his good name and fame.
So over here we can see like rising before him in the sense if you are like a domestic servant or something, and in that case you have to wake up before and sleep later, and that is your duty as a servant, as an employee. And but apart from that, like in different businesses, people still can go to the office uh, and come back from the office. I think they mostly do it like you have to go earlier and come later. that is also part of the duty that you are doing, your commitment to your master.
In 5 ways, young householder should a householder minister to ascetics and Brahmins at the zenith. By lovable deeds, by lovable words, by lovable thoughts, by keeping open house to them, by supplying their material needs.
So this is the spiritual community. You also have to deal with such people. And so ascetics and Brahmins in the modern day may be like monks or other priests or whatever, like those religious people or spiritual masters, whosoever your guides can be included into this category.
The ascetics and Brahma thus minister to as the zenith by a householder show their compassion towards him in 6 ways. They restrain him from evil. They persuade him to do good. They love him with a kind heart. They make him hear what he has not heard. They clarify what he has already heard. They point out the path to a heavenly state.
Yeah, over here, only here we can see actually 6 points. Otherwise, in all other cases, we found 5 points each. For the Brahmins, though the ascetics, they also should, you know, um, take care of their clients. They restrain from him from evil. They have to actually lead them to good. They have to also treat with kind-heartedness and a lot of things like this. Yeah, these are the. Thank you so much, for reading it out. So these are the 6 directions that we find in the Sigalova, the Sutta. It says the mother and father are the east, the teachers are the south, wife and children are the west, the friends and associates are the north, and servants and employees are the nadir, and ascetic and Brahmins are the zenith. So who is fit to lead the household life. These 6 quarters he should salute. This is according to Sigalova Sutta. All right. So we can see like familial duties, like parents should guide children, discourage vice, encourage virtue, provide education, and manage inheritance. We can see these things in not only Sigalova Sutta, like familial duties are also there in Mangala Sutta, like Mata Pitu Upadhanang Puttadarasa Sangaho Anakula Chakamanta Etang Mangala Muttamam. So this is a blessing, a supreme blessing when you have when you support your parents, care for your family, and righteous livelihood. They are actually blessings. Out of the 38 Mangala factors, these are also very important for familial duties mentioned in the sutta. And again, in the Sigalova, the sutta, we learned already how important it is to mutually respectful, have mutual affection, and mutually support. These are very, very crucial. Husband should honor and support their wives, and wives should manage household duties diligently. I think in today's context, sometimes when both husband and wives work, they probably have to share things equally. Um, Equality between partners is emphasized here. Very important, like how to have that shared responsibility rather than authority or hierarchy, or trying to say, okay, this is my right, you have to do this. This is your duty, you have to do it, rather than saying that or asking others or forcing others. In Sigalo or the Sutta, we have a way to deal with by committing yourself, by fulfilling your own duties first. When you fulfill your own duty, you probably can find um, your um, your rights too. So friendships, again, good friends should exhibit generosity, courtesy, and truthfulness. These are also part of being good friend, like the true friends we found here in the Sutta, Sigaloa, the Sutta, like um, Anukampaka and Samana Sukadukka, Attakai, like that. There were wonderful friends who can help us in many ways. And same Mangala Sutta and Sukalo the Sutta explain to us about the true friendships, how important it is to have beautiful friends in our life. And yeah, so even the monastic life, we can see the relationships should be characterized by loving kindness and detachment. So, loving kindness is to practice metta to all sentient beings, immeasurable, unconditional love to all sentient beings. And this also should be practiced with detachment. This is kind of very contradictory, it seems, but that is how it goes. Like you have to practice loving kindness without any unnecessary attachment. If you have unnecessary attachment, that itself can be a barrier, hindrance, then your loving kindness can probably jeopardize. So you have to know how to deal with it. You have to know also the limit. Probably sometimes, let's say like parents, they want to see their children grow better, be better, do better in their life. But then in doing so, you can really dictate everything. You can really monitor, control everything. The children, you can control them. You can keep them on leash. You have to also help them grow, but then they find their own way. That is the idea. So sometimes they might do good, they might be better, but sometimes they might not do so. Sometimes it can be disastrous. They might end up in a disaster or tragedy. This is where the detachment can be very important. So you need to think as parents, I've done my duty, yes, I've done my best, and sometimes it doesn't work. Then you, after that limit, you have to also make up your mind not to be overly attached and overly shattered. Your peace of mind, you have to be careful about that. Harmony in monastic communities involves kindness, shared resources, and upholding virtues. So these are very important, like even in family, if you have kindness and if you have shared resources and upholding virtues, you can have a beautiful, um, harmonious, and peaceful family life. So these suttas like Chula Gosinga, Kosambia Sutta, Mangala Sigalovada Sutta, all I explain about these things. And teacher-student relationships can also be very important because those days it's not like today. The teachers they guide with care, and students should show respect and diligence. And those days, actually, there were few very famous world-class um, teacher uh, senators like Taksala or Vikramashila. Um, there were some places, and also like very famous teacher was there who was called Disa Pamuk, and he was a very famous teacher. And mostly those maybe like royal families and the Brahmin families, and maybe even sometimes probably business families, they would send their kids to those teachers, and they have in-house training at the teacher's place. So everything is provided by the teacher there. And um, usually at the end of the course, they will have to pay in different ways. So we've heard about the story of Angulimala, how he was punished by the teacher when he asked Angulimala, or the young man called Ahinsaka, to bring him a necklace of fingers. So at the end of the course, mostly those teachers were paid differently. Sometimes royal princes, business class people, and other people, they learned many things, and that's how they also um, did better in their life, depending on the teacher. Yeah, and verification of teachings. Also, in Buddhism, it is said you don't hide anything. You um, they had something called, they don't give everything to their students. Only a very chosen, selected few were given the best. And that is also called what do you call, um, Upanishad. Upanishad means the one who sits close to you, and he or she, mostly he actually, was the one to learn from the teacher everything, like sitting very close to you. And that was a way at that time they were teaching. And in Buddhism, the Buddha said there is no Guru Mushti or close fisted thing. Everything is given to their children, like the students or pupils. The Buddha himself was very open, and he taught everything he knew in order to make his students, cross the samsara. Okay, and then ethical conducts were there. The Buddha's teachings emphasize ethical behavior, mutual respect, and personal responsibility. And also that way, individual well-being and collective well-being were enhanced. Okay, so you can see here the roots of conflict. When we have people together, relationships can be jeopardized due to these fundamental causes. One is desire and the selfishness and jealousy, and also ignorance, greed, and hatred. Like Sammoha can always be there, according to Sakkapanya Sutta. And according to Arana Vibhanga Sutta, effective conflict resolution is also there. The sutta addresses the core issues directly rather than just surface symptoms. So focus on the rooting out of internal biases and misconceptions. These few suttas can be very helpful to maintain a better social relationships. Okay, I think that I would like to take a break. Do you have any question?
I do,
Any
Bante.
comment? Yes.
Going way back to when you were talking about commentaries, I need a little bit of a clarification on that, because when you say commentaries, I'm not sure if it's actually part of the sutta or if it's Bhikkhu Bodhi's commentary at the end of the chapters, or if it's the Visuddhimagga, which I've sometimes heard as a commentary.
Well, there were traditional commentaries, like they were written way back, even before Buddha Gosa. The commentaries were written by the senior monks to explain the difficult concepts. Okay, and so they were there. They were learned by heart by the Bhanaka traditions. And for example, in the Digha Nikaya, 32 suttas are there. All these suttas have different commentaries. Every single sutta has a different commentary, Digha Nikaya. And then Majjhima Nikaya also, there is a commentary called Papancha Sudani. That is the Majjhima Nikaya commentary. And in this commentary, all the 152 suttas, their difficult concepts have been explained further. So they are very traditional commentaries. And later, we had again further sub-commentaries and sub-commentaries. And these are all part of the Tipitaka too, part of the canons, canonical literature. Okay. Now let's say like when Bhikkhu Bodhi or Bhikkhu Tanisar or Bhikkhu Anale or someone is giving their own again perspective, that could also be like considered in today's context, but they are not actually traditional commentaries. So that commentary is different.
Okay.
Sometimes when you read suttas, you find you don't understand the whole concept. That is also why like there were so many like different issues happening, and that's why there were commentaries. Commentarial literature is sometimes even bigger than the canons because you have to explain things in detail.
Thank you, Bante.
Any other question? Okay, so do you think it was helpful in the modern context? Yeah. Okay. All right, then we'll take a break, 15 minutes break, and see you again after the break. So I think it is also good to talk to the class sometimes. Otherwise, especially in the online versions, it's so hard to be, well connected with everyone. Sometimes you go like camera off we don't really know what you do. Are you really following? How do you feel? I really don't know because I don't see the people when I keep talking. So, but then we also have to keep, explaining with the presentation. So there are some connection problems, right? Now, some of you are also teachers, right? I think Chris is a teacher, right? Do you also teach online?
Well, I did during the COVID period, but no, typically it's in a classroom. And I just had my first full week with the students, which might have been why I wasn't feeling so well last night. It's just a long week, and it's kind of stressful and getting to new students and kind of just seeing how they are. They're eighth graders, so they're 13, 14 years old. So um, it they're good for the most part, but it's kind of hard to tell from the first week. But so far, so good.
Mhm.
I do telehealth too. So, and the feeling is different. I prefer to see people in my office than through the camera.
Yeah, that's right. Like when it is online, especially when you like on one is okay, but when you talk to a number of people like online, it's very hard to be connected, right? The vibe is different and the connectivity is different. So sometimes we also have to come back and talk to the people. I think maybe the online version should have different rules. Otherwise, it's hard. Anyway, how was the class so far?
Good information. It's pertinent.
Okay.
It's
All
good.
right.
It's down to earth. It's easy to understand.
Okay. Yeah, easy to understand, but also can it be applied to today's context? That's also important, right? Yeah. Do you think like the Sigalova Sutta, like that context, can it still be applied today?
Yeah, yeah, I think yes, absolutely. And I always have situations that I hear or I live in that I can relate with the suttas. Yeah.
By learning this, you also should be able to make your life more meaningful, right? That's also why you join the class, because it's not like other courses. I think this should be more practical for it should be helpful to your life in general. So I really would like to talk to you people, like also getting your feedback can be very helpful. Please feel free to communicate. That will be very helpful. Okay. Shall we read the sutta then? How about the Khaggavisana Sutta that we mentioned? That can be a really interesting sutta. Maybe we will. Anyone wants to read? Any volunteer? Okay, let me open the sutta first. I have already opened. This is a really beautiful sutta, actually. Khaggavisana Sutta. Okay. We're going to read
I can read if it helps, Bunty.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. The Kagabisana Sutta, or Rhinoceros, from the Sutta Nipata 1.3.
Yeah, please read this also, I think. Yeah, this will also be probably helpful.
The translator's note, okay. Translator's note. The refrain in the sutta is a subject of controversy. The text literally says wander alone like a sword horn, which is the Pali term for rhinoceros. The commentary, however, insists that this term refers not to the animal, but to its horn. For the Indian rhinoceros, unlike the African, has only one horn. Still, some scholars have noted that while the Indian rhinoceros is a solitary animal, rhinoceros horns don't wander, and that in other verses in the Pali Canon, the phrase wander alone like takes a person or an animal, not an animal part, for its object. Thus, for example, in the Dhammapada 329, one is told to wander alone like a king renouncing his kingdom, like the elephant in the Mantanga woods, his herd. It's possible that the rhinoceros was chosen here as an example of solitary wandering, both because of its habits and because of its unusual single horn. However, in a translation, it's necessary to choose one reading over the other. Thus, because wandering like a rhinoceros sounds more natural than wandering like a horn, I have chosen the former rendering. Keep in mind, though, that the singularity of the rhinoceros horn reinforces the image. As noted under 1.1, there is evidence suggesting that the verses here were originally separate poems, composed on separate occasions, and that they have been gathered together because of their common refrain.
Okay, so this translation is by Bhikkhu Aniswara. All right, so please read.
Renouncing violence for all living things, harming not even a one. You would not wish for offspring, so how a companion? Wander alone like a rhinoceros. For a sociable person, there are allurements. On the heels of allurement, this pain. Seeing allurement's drawback, wander alone like a rhinoceros. One whose mind is enmeshed in sympathy for friends and companions neglects the true goal. Seeing this danger in intimacy, wander alone like a rhinoceros. Like spreading bamboo entwined, is concern for offspring and spouses. Like a bamboo sprout, unentangling, wander alone like a rhinoceros. As deer in the wilds, unfettered, goes for forage wherever it wants, the wise person, valuing freedom, wanders alone like a rhinoceros. In the midst of companions, when staying at home, when going out wandering, you are prey to requests. Valuing the freedom, wander alone like a rhinoceros. There is sporting and love in the midst of companions, an abundant fondness for offspring, feeling disgust at the prospect of parting from those who'd be dear, wander alone like a rhinoceros. Without resistance in all four directions, content with whatever you get, enduring troubles with no dismay, wander alone like a rhinoceros. They are hard to please, some of those gone forth, as well as those living the household life. Shedding concern for these offspring of others, wander alone like a rhinoceros. Cutting off the householder's marks, like a covilara tree that has shed its leaves, the prudent one, cutting all household ties, wander alone like a rhinoceros. If you gain a mature companion, a fellow traveler, right living and wise, overcoming all dangers, go to him gratified, mindful, If you don't gain a mature companion, a fellow traveler, right living and wise, wander alone, like a king renouncing his kingdom, like the elephant in the Matanga wilds, his herd. We praise companionship, yes. Those on a par or better should be chosen as friends. If they're not to be found living faultlessly, wander alone like a rhinoceros. Seeing radiant bracelets of gold, well made by a smith, clinking, clashing, two on an arm, wander alone like a rhinoceros. In the same way, if I were to live with another, there would be careless talk or abusive. Seeing this future danger, wander alone like a rhinoceros. Because sensual pleasures, elegant, honeyed, and charming, bewitch the mind with their manifold forms. Seeing this drawback in sensual strands, wander alone like a rhinoceros. Calamity, tumor, misfortune, disease, an arrow, a danger for me. Seeing this danger in sensual strands, wander alone like a rhinoceros. Cold and heat, hunger and thirst, wind and sun, horseflies and snakes. Enduring all these without exception, wander alone like a rhinoceros. As a great white elephant with massive shoulders, renouncing his herd, lives in the wild wherever he wants, wander alone like a rhinoceros. There's no way that one delighting in company can touch even momentary release. Heeding the solar kinsman's word, wander alone like a rhinoceros. Transcending the contortion of views, the sure way attained, the path gained, realizing, unled by others, I have knowledge arisen, wander alone like a rhinoceros, with no greed, no deceit, no thirst, no hypocrisy, delusion, and blemishes blown away, with no inclinations for all the world, every world, wander alone like a rhinoceros. Avoid the evil companion, disregarding the goal, intent on the out of tune way. Don't take as a friend someone heedless and hankering. Wander alone like a rhinoceros. Consort with one who is learned, who maintains the Dhamma, a great and quick-witted friend, knowing the meanings, subdue your perplexity, and wander alone like a rhinoceros. Free from longing, finding no pleasure in the world's sport, love, or sensual bliss, abstaining from adornment, speaking the truth, wander alone like a rhinoceros. Abandoning offspring, spouse, father, mother, riches, grain, relatives, and sensual pleasures altogether, wander alone like a rhinoceros. This is a bondage, a baited hook. There is little happiness here, next to no satisfaction, all the more suffering and pain. Knowing this, circumspect, wander alone like a rhinoceros. Shattering fetters, like a fish in the water, tearing a net, like a fire not coming back to what's burnt, wander alone like a rhinoceros. Eyes downcast, not footloose, senses guarded, with protected mind, not oozing, not burning with lust, wander alone like a rhinoceros. Taking off the householder's marks like a coral tree that has shed its leaves, going forth in the ochre robe, wander alone like a rhinoceros. Showing no greed for flavors, not careless, going from house to house for alms, with mind unmeshed in this family or that, wander alone like a rhinoceros. Abandoning barriers to awareness, expelling all defilements, all non-dependent, cutting aversion, allurement, wander alone like a rhinoceros. Turning your back on pleasure and pain, as earlier with sorrow and joy, attaining pure equanimity, tranquility, wander alone like a rhinoceros. With persistent aroused for the highest goal's attainment, with mind unsmeared, not lazy in action, firm in effort, with steadfastness and strength arisen, wander alone like a rhinoceros. Not neglecting seclusion, absorption, constantly living in the Dhamma, in line with the Dhamma, comprehending the danger in states of becoming, wander alone like a rhinoceros. Intent on the ending of craving and heedful, learned, mindful, not muddled, certain, having reckoned the Dharma, and striving, wander alone like a rhinoceros, unstartled like lions at sounds, unsnared like the wind in a net, unsmeared like a lotus in water, wander alone like a rhinoceros, like a lion, forceful, strong in fang, living as a conqueror, the king of the beasts, resort to a solitary dwelling, wander alone like a rhinoceros. At the right time, consorting with the release through goodwill, compassion, appreciation, equanimity, unobstructed by all the world, any world, wander alone like a rhinoceros. Having let go of passion, aversion, delusion, having shattered the fetters, undisturbed at the ending of life, wander alone like a rhinoceros. People follow and associate for a motive. Friends without a motive these days are rare. They're shrewd for their own ends and impure. Wander alone like a rhinoceros.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So I think it's if we talk about this sutta a little bit, maybe the group discussion in the whole class. Also, what was the most impressive thing you learned here? Yeah, thank you, Jojo. That was really wonderful reading. You're a good reader.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay. So what was maybe one thing that noted that highlighted most in this sutta? What was most impressive to you in wandering alone like a rhinoceros?
Can I say something, Bhante?
Sure.
You know what was most impressive to me is that just before class, I was in the backyard and I was thinking about my social situation right now. And I was thinking that I kind of enjoy where I am right now, not going out so much and doing more things in the house, more research and whatnot. And I was thinking, man, I'm really walking alone like a rhinoceros. And then we came into class, and it was the focus. So I thought that was kind of fun.
Wow, wonderful.
For me is well, there's many examples that it's okay to be alone, and there's some beliefs, strong beliefs when I work with couples that they are having a difficult relationship, and it's obvious that it's better than walking alone like a rhinoceros sometimes. But it's a permission to do it for yourself as well.
Hmm. Yeah, so what do you think? Why the Buddha has highlighted this sutta, like to be alone, to practice alone? Why is it so important, especially as a practitioner? You know, in a practitioner's point of view, how important is it to be walking alone as a rhinoceros?
You don't develop attachments.
Mhm.
I think also self-reliance. Even though teachers and the Dhamma can tell you things, you have to realize this for yourself.
Yeah. So the enlightenment is within, right? Yes.
Yeah, and to me, I remember one. I don't know what exactly is sutras, but recently I listened a dharma from a one teacher in Thailand. He said, "Our journey is we just go by yourself. We don't have any company. So it means on even though we have family, we have friend, we have a community, but in the spiritual development we alone. It means we need to know about that, and we need to understand our it's just like the organ operation of our. To me, I need to understand about my mind, understand about the thing, how I live here, and what's next after that. It looks like that. So I need to discover about that for myself, and I need to depend on others. Yes. Thank you, teacher.
Yeah, I think what you said is something related to this sutta only. It is already mentioned here, like if you don't find a good company, wander alone, like a rhinoceros. Right? It's a very famous sutta. So for a practitioner's point of view, it can be very helpful to, like, you don't have so much weight. When you are alone, you can go faster, right? If you have company, it's difficult. You have to go with them. You have a partner, you have children, so the weight is more. But if you are all by yourself, you can walk faster, you can run faster. Your journey can be faster, and also um, more attachment can be more responsibilities, more commitments, right? So you have to take care of many things. Let's say like a monk, you don't have many things. No, not many responsibilities. You have to focus. So it's easier. But then again, like if you are a monk, like an abbot, you are taking care of many temple duties or something. Sometimes it could be even worse than becoming a householder. Right? You have so many things, like you have to take care of events, you have to take care of fundraising, you have to take care of, here, like a lot of bills, so many things, hassle. But a true um, solitary journey for a practitioner, you are actually free from all burdens, just like a bird. The arahanta or the enlightened one is compared to a bird. We have actually some bird nests here. I see all the time those birds, they come, and they build the nest slowly and gradually, and then they lay eggs, and they keep taking care of those eggs. And then after a while, the two little baby, birds, they also fly away, and the mother also fly away. It's amazing. Like they come, they don't, when they go back, they never take anything with them. Not even the kids, you know. They don't take, the birds are really amazing. Really, really amazing. They are really like enlightened ones. No attachment to the nest. Like when we go from one house to another, you will have truckloads of stuff. Right? From moving from one house to another, you will see yourself how burdensome it is. how heavy it is, and how many unnecessary stuff you have been accumulating over the years, and you only come to know when you move from one house to another. The birds are amazing. They don't take even a stick. They take so much time and effort to build the nest, but they don't look back again. They leave everything behind. It's truly amazing. So in Dhammapada, the Buddha said, Sapatta bharo pakhi sakuno. Like the bird has only wings as their weight. Similarly, the Arahanta person, the enlightened person, has only maybe the simple requisites, the 2 robes, one inner robe, one single layer robe, double layer robe, the water filter, and a needle thread, arms bowl, and those are the just simple 8 requisites, and they can survive. They don't have like any mortgage, any water bill, like electricity bill, nothing. And also they don't worry about like food or something. When they feel hungry, they go arms round and people give food, and then they just survive with simple food, and you don't really worry about so much. And so that way, like to be alone and to be simple and to be like maintaining that minimalistic lifestyle can be truly, truly amazing, isn't it? So, the Buddha is also called Shakyamuni Buddha, right? What does Muni means? What is the meaning of Muni?
I believe it means sage.
Yeah, sage is one thing. Muni also means like Mauna Vrata, means silent practice. So Muni also means silent one, silent person. So they mostly, they don't keep talking. Only if it is necessary, they would talk, otherwise they would keep quiet. And they would really love to go to jhanas and live in that spiritual realm. That way they feel more comfortable. Most of those practitioners, they would love mountains, they would love forests, and yeah, they would love to be alone. Recently, there was one Sri Lankan monk who came here. He actually mostly practices in the Himalayas, and he came here recently to the US. And he really loves to go to the jungles, the forests, where there are no people. He really loves to be in the Himalayas. Most of the time, he would love that. And when he comes, he said, when he gives them a talk and when people talk to him, he feels so tired. And to boost his energy, he wants to go back to the forest. So it's much easier actually for such people to find enlightenment because their distractions are much less. Like when you are a social person, you have so many distractions. You have family, you already have distractions. Children, so many distractions, right? So difficult. Like when you're alone, it's much easier, much comfortable, much simpler. So Shakya Muni also has something to do with the silence. And the Buddha already mentioned in many, many times how important it is to be silent. And many other ascetic practitioners, non-Buddhist practitioners, they already recognize the Buddha's amazing likeness to the noble silence. So when we keep quiet, actually, it's so much easier, so much comfortable. In one sutta where King Ajatasattu wants to go to meet Buddha, I think I mentioned this before. The king noticed that there was an uneasy calm and there was absolute quietness. And he was really worried even when there was quietness, too much quietness. And then when he found the Buddha and 1250 monks living in absolute silence, pin drop silence, he was so impressed. It blew him out actually. Wow, this is amazing. Like when everyone is quiet with such a big, huge assembly of people, and when nobody talks, that's really, really amazing. You know, imagine like at home, like you have everyone except you are in the phone. Except you are in the phone. If you can be together and, you know, practice quietly, how wonderful. The vibe can be completely different. That's why also the Buddha said, Sukha Sanghasa Samaggi, the unity of the monks is great joy and happiness. And Sukha, like Samagganang Tapo Sukho, when those united ones, when those what do you call, harmonious monks practice together, that is so much joy and happiness to everyone. So that is why the noble silence, it is called noble silence in Buddhism. One way of getting rid of so many problems is to be quiet, to practice noble silence. That being said, if there is an opportunity, if there is a need, you have to talk. That also is there. Otherwise, the Buddha was also like even talking to Devas in the middle of the night. When he was supposed to talk, he would talk. Otherwise, if there was no need to talk, like yesterday, we learned about the 32 frivolous talks that you should avoid. You know, when those things are there, he would not talk. Like in the Brahmanet Sutta, the Brahmajala Sutta, we learned so many things are there, like lots and lots of unnecessary things. So then you can be quiet. Right. So that connection, that quietness means you are connected to yourself. You are very well connected to yourself. That is why you are alone. It doesn't mean you are not connected. You are really connected to yourself when you are alone. That is the idea here. So to be alone like a rhinoceros means you are very strong within and you can sustain the enemy attacks. You can sustain all the defilements coming up. You have like a, what do you call, like a like mindfulness, you know, the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper is there to warn you, alarm you whenever there is a defilement coming. He would knock, 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 and you would know, okay, the defilement is coming. The anger is coming, the sadness is coming, so many other different and difficult emotions are coming. You will know only when you are silent, when you are mindful. That is why from time to time you need to practice meditation so that you train yourself to be alone and to be stronger within. That is the idea of practicing alone. So I recommend you read this sutta again and see some of those beautiful, powerful sayings of the Buddha. really amazing. Okay,
Bunty,
so yes.
is your video working?
Let me see. Let me see what happened. There was a problem, yeah. Oh, it's no. Okay. Oh, I can see. Okay, let's read the other sutta now. I think we were discussing about the solitary rhino Cirrus Sutta. Let's go to the other sutta. This also is it's relatively shorter one. Anyone wants to read this sutta? This is called Wheel Turning Emperor Chakravarti Sutta, another Digha Nikaya sutta.
I could read, Bante.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Chakravarti Sutta, the wheel-turning emperor. Would you like me to read the translator's introduction?
Yes, please. I think this is good.
The body of this sutta consists of a narrative illustrating the power of skillful action. In the past, unskillful behavior was unknown among the human race. As a result, people lived for an immensely long time, 80,000 years, endowed with great beauty, wealth, pleasure, and strength. Over the course of time, though, they began to behave in various unskillful ways. This caused the human lifespan gradually to shorten to the point where it now stands at 100 years, with human beauty, wealth, pleasure, and strength decreasing proportionately. In the future, as morality continues to degenerate, human life will continue to shorten to the point where the normal lifespan is 10 years, with people reaching sexual maturity at 5. Among those human beings, the 10 courses of action will have entirely disappeared. The word skillful will not exist. So from where will there be anyone who does what is skillful? Those who lack the honorable qualities of motherhood, fatherhood, contemplativehood, and Brahmanhood will be the ones who receive homage. Fierce hatred will arise, fierce malevolence, fierce rage, and murderous thoughts. Mother for child, child for mother, father for child, child for father, brother for sister, sister for brother. Ultimately, conditions will deteriorate to the point of a sword interval, in which swords appear in the hands of all human beings, and they hunt one another like game. A few people, however, will take shelter in the wilderness to escape the carnage, and when the slaughter is over, they will come out of hiding and resolve to take up a life of skillful and virtuous action again. With the recovery of virtue, the human lifespan will gradually increase again until it reaches 80,000 years, with people attaining sexual maturity at 500. Only 3 diseases will be known at that time: desire, lack of food, and old age. Another Buddha, Maitreya or Maitreya, will gain awakening, his monastic sangha numbering in the thousands. The greatest king of the time, Sanka, will go forth into homelessness and attain arahantship under Maitreya's guidance. The story, after chronicling the ups and downs of human wealth, lifespan, etc., concludes with the following lesson on karma and skillful action. Monks, live with yourself as your island, yourself as your refuge, with nothing else as your refuge. Live with the Dhamma as your island, the Dhamma as your refuge, with nothing else as your refuge. And how does a monk live with himself as his island, himself as his refuge, with nothing else as his refuge, with the Dhamma as his island, the Dhamma as his refuge, with nothing else as his refuge? There is the case where a monk remains focused on the body in and of itself, ardent, alert, and mindful, putting aside greed and distress with reference to the world. He remains focused on feelings in and of themselves, mind in and of itself, mental qualities in and of themselves, ardent, alert, and mindful, putting aside greed and distress with reference to the world. This is how a monk lives with himself as his island, himself as his refuge, with nothing else as his refuge, with the Dhamma as his island, the Dhamma as his refuge, with nothing else as his refuge. Wander, monks, in your proper range, your own ancestral territory. When you wander in your proper range, your own ancestral territory, you will grow in long life, beauty, pleasure, wealth, and strength. And what constitutes a monk's long life? There is the case where a monk develops the base of power endowed with concentration founded on desire and the fabrications of exertion. He develops the base of power endowed with concentration founded on persistence, founded on intent. He develops the base of power endowed with concentration founded on discrimination and the fabrications of exertion. From the development and pursuit of these four bases of power, he can stay alive for an eon, if he wants, or for the remainder of an eon. This constitutes a monk's long life. And what constitutes a monk's beauty? There is the case where a monk is virtuous. He dwells restrained in accordance with the patimokkha, consummate in his behavior and sphere of activity. He trains himself, having undertaken the training rules, seeing danger in the slightest faults. This constitutes a monk's beauty. And what constitutes a monk's pleasure? There is the case where a monk, quite withdrawn from sensuality, withdrawn from unskillful mental qualities, enters and remains in the first jhana, rapture and pleasure born from withdrawal, accompanied by direct thought and evaluation. With the stilling of directed thoughts and evaluations, he enters and remains in the second jhana, rapture and pleasure born of composure, unification of awareness, free from directed thought and evaluation, internal assurance. With the fading of rapture, he remains equanimous, mindful, and alert, and senses pleasure with the body. He enters and remains in the third jhana, of which the noble ones declare, equanimous and mindful, he has a pleasant abiding. With the abandoning of pleasure and pain, as with the earlier disappearance of elation and distress, he enters and remains in the fourth jhana, purity of equanimity and mindfulness, neither pleasure nor pain. This constitutes a monk's pleasure. And what constitutes a monk's wealth? There is the case where a monk keeps pervading in the first direction, the east, as well as the second direction, the third and the fourth, with an awareness imbued with goodwill. Thus he keeps pervading above, below, and all around, everywhere and in every respect the all-encompassing world with an awareness imbued with goodwill, abundant, expansive, immeasurable, free from hostility, free from ill will. He keeps pervading the first direction, as well as the second direction, the third, and the fourth, with an awareness imbued with compassion, imbued with appreciation. He keeps pervading the first direction, as well as the second direction, the third, and the fourth, with an awareness imbued with equanimity. Thus he keeps pervading above, below, and all around, everywhere and in every respect the all-encompassing world, with an awareness imbued with equanimity, abundant, expansive, immeasurable, free from hostility, free from ill will. This constitutes a monk's wealth. And what constitutes a monk's strength? There is the case when a monk, through the end of the mental fermentations, enters and remains in the fermentation-free awareness release and discernment release. having directly known and realized them for himself right in the here and now. This constitutes a monk's strength. Monks, I don't envision any other single strength so hard to overcome as this, the strength of Mara, and the adopting of skillful qualities is what causes this merit to increase. That is what the Blessed One said. Gratified, the monks delighted in the Blessed One's words.
Thank you so much. Sadhu, sadhu. All right. So this, I think, hit the nail on the head. You know, you see why it's important to be alone, eventually, to be well connected. So at the beginning, you are with the family, with the friends, with the relatives, and everyone, and eventually you become alone and you practice. And then these are the results, like practicing jhanas. In order to practice jhana, you know, you have to be absolutely quiet. Like if you want to attain jhana, maybe you have to practice, maybe if you are a beginner, keep practicing more than 1 hour, maybe 1.5 hours or so, or more. Then hopefully you can be able to, you know, attain the jhanas. The jhanas need a lot of focus and attention and concentration and no hindrance. And in order to get out of these 5 hindrances and then enter the jhanas, you have to have completely different settings. At homes, if you don't have such privilege, then it would be difficult. Like if you have little kids, or if you have a lot of family members, or if you are in a neighborhood where the other people are making a lot of sounds, and then it would be difficult for you to meditate. And that is why the temple, in that case, is so then again, even the temple, if they have a lot of activities, then also it's difficult, right? So the 3 qualities mentioned here, ardent, alert, and mindful. Atapi, sampajano, satima. These 3 words are really, really important for someone to practice. Completely focus on the body and the mind. You need to persistently focus on these ardent, alert, and mindful qualities. And then you can, also it is said like how you can become, live yourself as an island, as your own atta deepa viharata, atta sarana, ananya sarana. Like monks live with yourself as your island, yourself as your refuge, with nothing else as your refuge. So the same thing like Dhamma Deepa Bhikkhave Virata, Dhamma Sarana, Ananya Sarana. So Dhamma can also be your island. Dhamma can be your refuge, and nothing else as your refuge. So this way, some practice, again, connecting to yourself. This is the ultimate goal. Like we live with the others, eventually come back to you. You know, in Hindu, in the Brahman religions, they also have Brahmana, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas, right? So what does that mean? Brahmachari means when you are a young person, strong, vibrant, more focused, less distracted, you have to focus on your studies. Okay, Brahmachari. And Grihastha means then you are a family member. Yeah, you have your family life. Okay, that is, there is a time in your life. Maybe first 20 years, your Brahmachari life, your studies, and then maybe next 20 years, the grihastha life, like family life, making kids, having family, and all that stuff. And then vanaprastha means, you know, vanaprastha means like leading to the, or heading towards the jungle, heading towards the forest. That means you are slowly detaching yourself from, you know, from all the bondages that you have. Slowly you have to get rid of them. That's important. So eventually you become sannyasi, means all by yourself. So this is also very, very similar to the Buddhist ideology, like, Muni, concept of Muni. So practicing alone, um, so that should be the goal at the end. In order to do that, you also, in your life from time to time, you also have to find time for yourself. That me time, that solitary isolation you need to find in your day-to-day life. I think, as Gabriela said, like dealing with so many clients make you tired. You don't want to face so many other people again. You want to be like little bit, confined to your own little family. Similarly, you can actually, many people don't know how you can energize yourself. You can boost your energy really exponentially if you practice meditation. Don't feel tired when you do that. Recently, actually, I was coming from another state. Actually, I came to St. Louis for a few days uh, for an urgent work. So when coming back, I thought I should meditate in the airplane. When I closed my eyes, I heard lots of noise, like the airplane. But then I kept meditating, and so how the plane, slowly comes down, and then how it touches the land, and you hear the jerk, and so until it comes to the last stop. I was trying to meditate. I think it was really wonderful too. So I think we can all find some quality me time. I recommend you all also should try to find it in day-to-day life, um, like little like TikTok meditation sometimes, even for a short time, for a long time sometimes, maybe 5 minutes break, 10-minute breaks, when you have try to meditate. And while eating, you can meditate. While drinking a cup of tea or coffee, you can meditate. See how the coffee or whatever the different taste you have in the mouth, and it goes down, and the food pipe, you need to feel that, and then eventually it disappears into thin air when it goes to the belly. And then after a while, you can also see the energy boosting happening, like you suddenly feel so energetic. Same thing when you take shower, I think you can meditate. You can be mindful, how the water touches your body. At the beginning, you feel like lazy or like no energy. And how come you feel so energetic and so refreshing after the shower? That's amazing, right? So you need to think how it happens. Like if you focus, probably you can see that the connection towards yourself is really, really helpful. And in life, it's very natural. Like we feel ups and downs. We have the 8 vicissitudes, what we call labha, alabha, ayasa, yasa, ninda, prasansa, sukha, dukkha. We have loss and gains, and ups and downs, happiness and sadness. All these things happen in our life. It's an integral part of our life, inseparable part of our life. And then you need to see, like when you are happy, don't be overexcited, maintain the equanimity. When you feel sad also, don't feel so, down. You need to find like the rhinoceros. Think of rhinoceros and be stronger within. That way you will feel not so down when things go wrong with you. Sometimes bad things happen to good people, right? People think like they complain also, like bad things happen to good people all the time. That is actually to test your goodness. So you need to be better. You need to be stronger within. So keep practicing, I think. That way is very important. So in dealing with a lot of people, different perspectives, different temperaments, you have to deal with them. Maybe students, maybe clients, maybe family members, maybe friends, maybe other people, co-workers and all. You will see them all different kinds of people around. How to deal with them and how not to be disturbed by their negative energies. You need to find. That is why eventually we came to I think, the best sutta, Chakravarti Sihananda Sutta. Eventually you need to find that inner peace and happiness in its best form. You go to jhanas, and then you will feel absolute peace and happiness. Remember, even the Buddha, sometimes he would go to some other monks when they were sick. He would go to jhanas first. He practiced jhana first, and then he came out of the jhana, and then he went to meet those monks. One time, Venerable Mahakassapa was sick, and he went in Pipali cave. So the Buddha practiced meditation, and out of the meditation, he went straight to Venerable Mahakassapa, and he preached the Satta Bhujanga, the 7 factors of enlightenment. And same thing happened to Venerable Moggallana. He did the same. Many times it happened to him. And so this practice is very traditional and very ancient classic lifestyle that the Buddha was recommending us. So we need to also find that in your own busy schedules. Please find some small, me time for you. Maybe close your eyes, and listen to yourself. Listen to your own breath. Even 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If you keep doing it, you will feel, you will see, you will encounter a lot of positive, energy, improvement within you. So, yeah, that is what I wanted to highlight here in this sutta. Any comments about the Chakravarti Sihananda Sutta?
Can you share these stages that you mentioned, that when you are with no responsibilities at all and you can focus on the process?
You mean the sutta?
You mentioned different stages. I don't remember.
You mean the jhanas?
Probably.
Yeah, over here. You see, and what constitutes a monk's long life? Direction, monk's strength. So you can see here, ardent, alert, and mindful. Side, read distress with reference to the world. He remains focused on feelings in and of themselves, mind in and of itself. Mental qualities in and of themselves, ardent, alert, and mindful, putting aside greed and stress with reference to the world. This is how a monk lives with himself as his island. And then, yeah, so the monk develops the base of power endowed with concentration. And he talks about the jhanas. Okay. And what constitutes a monk's pleasure? There is a case where a monk, quite withdrawn from sensuality, withdrawn from unskillful mental qualities, enters and remains in the first jhana. So when you enter the first jhana, rapture and pleasure born from withdrawal, accompanied by directed thought and evaluation. So it is said in Pali, vitakka vichara piti sukha ekaggata. So these are the like directed thought and evaluation, or and also withdrawal from sensual pleasures, and then piti, vitakka vichara piti sukha. These are the jhanic factors that you have. The first jhana. In the first jhana, you have vitakka vichara piti sukha ekaggata, and when it comes to the second jhana, rapture and pleasure, born of composure, unification of awareness, free from directed thought and evaluation. So directed thought and evaluation, vitakka vichara, will be gone when it comes to the second jhana. So we really can't see it now. We should not, get rid of them now, even without attaining the first jhana. First, you have to attain the first jhana, and in the first jhana, you will have all these jhanic factors, and in the second jhana only, you can get rid of those vitakka and vichara. And this is internal assurance. You can see. And further, when you practice even more, you can go to the third jhana. When it comes to the third jhana, vitakka, vichara, and even the piti, the rapture, it will also fade away. The piti or the rapture will also be no more necessary, no more required when it comes to the third jhana. And then in the fourth jhana, only equanimous and mindful. So this is again equanimity and mindfulness. He has a pleasant abiding in the fourth jhana. So these are the four jhanic factors. Probably many suttas speak about these jhanas, and these jhanas can be very helpful to further improve, strengthen your concentration, your samadhi, and this can also be very helpful to practice, switch from samatha. This is the samatha, tranquility meditation. This is the ultimate goal of practicing samatha. And then you can actually switch to vipassana. In any of these stages, you can also practice vipassana. And by practicing vipassana, of course, you can achieve the magga phala, so the sotapanna, the stream entry, the once returner, the non-returner, and the arahanthood are part of the vipassana practice. So this, I hope this is what you were asking, Gabriela. The four stages, the four jhanas.
Yes.
Is that so?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. You can see how the monk, when he does so, He has pleasure, he has beauty, he has longevity, he has wealth. Amazing, like the benefits. His strength is very beautifully explained in this Chakravarti Sihananda Sutta. Wheel turning emperor. Okay. Okay, so today I also want to maybe explain to you about the, I think I already mentioned that in the Google class. Did you see the Google class notice? Yes or no? Yeah,
Which one were you
so,
referring to? Which one, Bunty? Regarding what?
regarding the, let me show you here. So in we talk about what do you call mock exam, right? So after discussing actually Venerable Kongyang, and we had a discussion on the mock exam. So we will have a mock exam replacement instead. We'll have a final recap in class writing exercise for everyone, all students, DBS and non-DBS. So yeah, I think it's yeah, this is the this is important for this. The final recap instead of mock exam. Okay. So that means on 22nd September, we will have writing 4 out of 8 questions. I strongly suggest that all the students, DBS and non-DBS students, will take up this, and hopefully you can feel more fulfilled that way. I know when it comes to exams, some people feel like it's stressful, right? But I think it will also be fulfilling if you can do this exam in class written exercise instead of mock exam. This will not yield any grade, but I think it will be the kind of rehearse for you at the end of the course for everyone to gain something. Okay, does it make sense? Yeah, so we'll do that. Final recap, and then please remember we also have the second assignment. 7th September, right? Yeah. So please keep on working on them. Any question, comment, concern? How was your class so far today?
Was good. Do you have an
Good.
example how it would be a question in the test? It's a topic to develop, or
Yeah, I think the topics will depend on all the classes that we did so far. Like out of all the classes, we will select 8 questions, and you will have to answer 4 questions. Let's say, okay, explain the Buddhist concept of human rights or something, you know. So you will have 8 questions, and you can answer 4 of them within 3 hours. 4 questions within 3 hours. I probably will give you some maybe sample example. Okay, so probably you can prepare like that. Rather than, you are spending here like quietly listening, and maybe you can also do something. Okay, fulfilling, I think, when you do the exam. It's okay, you will not be graded anyway, but it's good that, okay, I can do it. Don't feel scared already. Oh, I have an exam. That's okay. You can, by just wrapping it up. And you notice that we also repeat some suttas. I hope some of the suttas you already are more familiar now, right? So those things can be used, and some of the context that we learn here can be repeating, overlapping. So that way it will be helpful too. And before the exam, I'll give you some sample answers. Okay. Okay. So with that, I would like to conclude today's session then. Thank you everyone for joining us today. And do you know some of you have actually scored? I marked the attendance. I noticed some of you have actually 100% attendance. Do you want to know? Yes or no?
Yep.
Yeah, I did mark the attendance. Yeah. Maybe if there was a mistake, you can also let me know. Okay, here's the attendance. See, including today's 23. So I can see here Isla, 100%, Gabriela, 100%, and whenever Jangchup has probably missed one class. Did you? Mark has missed probably one class. Okay, and then Cameron was there, but I think today he's not here, right? Yeah, so far 100%. And Juan and Jojo, yeah, few people have. Reverend Vijita also has 100%, and then Julie was, but today she's missing the class. Do we have Kyra here? Was she there before? Yeah, she was also 100% so far. So that is the attendance. Let me know if I made any mistake. Okay. And congratulations anyway for continuously attending the class, and also the other people I know, like Many of you, I think almost every one of you have emailed me if you had some problem. So yeah, yeah, keep working. Juan, you have a question?
Yeah, I just want to know if it's okay for you. It's because sometimes I understand better when I'm translating. So when I receive your articles that you send us, I used to translate, try to translate, just to understand that, you know. So
Uh,
I want to know if it's okay for you. I do this.
okay to translate?
Yeah, if it's okay for you, because it's your work. I mean, the
What?
the articles you send us, like the analysis of the Semana Mundika Sutta today, the
Yes.
Buddhist. Yeah, so I during the week I'm trying to translate it.
Oh, you want to
Yeah,
translate?
yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah, yeah.
But,
So
but I'm not sure like you have time enough or not. Maybe you can think of it later.
no, I mean it's good because is a way as I can understand, because sincerely sometimes to read things in English to me is a little bit difficult.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
In that case, you can also check Sutta Central.
Mm,
SuttaCentral.net
yeah,
has
I got.
a number of translations.
Yeah,
I
I
think
found a lot.
there's probably Spanish, Vietnamese, many Chinese, many translations are there.
Yeah,
So try SuttaCentral.net to
yeah.
translate.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Ante.
Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you again for joining us today, and I wish you all the very best, long life and good health. Please write one word to conclude the session today. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, and see you again tomorrow.
Thank you, Bunty.
Yeah, good night.
Good night, aloha.
Thank you, Bante.